Japanese Americans have been put under intense criticism and distrust, but it is those of Japanese heritage who are suffering for Japan's role in the war. These Americans have been forced to give up all of their belongings to be segregated away from the rest of the community. Japanese Americans have shown to be no threat to the US and are fully supportive to America and the rest of its allies, yet they are still viewed as the enemies. In this podcast, we'll be hearing stories of these Americans and what they've had to experience due to the racism they face for their Japanese heritage.
Looking for a job? Why not apply to the Ford Motor Company? From here, an American like yourself could help out this country by mass-producing the B-24 Liberator. What's that, you ask? Well, it is the long-range bomber that will be used in our future battles against the Axis powers. So, if you wish to help out in the war but do not want to be in the war, this is the perfect opportunity for you. So come and join a war production company that makes the products used in the war by our brave soldiers. Hurry, and you too could aid in the victory of the U.S.
The internment of Japanese Americans affected many loyal Americans all over the United States. Just one of these Americans that were affected is Japanese American Toyojiro Suzuki. In February of 1942, Suzuki was interned a mere 8 weeks after Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. Suzuki was held at Fort Lincoln near Bismarck, North Dakota, where he was separated from his family. Born in April 1903, Suzuki moved to America in 1920 to work in the fishing industry with his father. During the Pearl Harbor attack, Suzuki and his father were at sea and knew that their loyalty to the United States would be questioned when they returned. Suzuki states that, quote, "The consequences upon us as a group and as individuals were grave matters to ponder as a result of Japan's open hostilities against America," end quote. Suzuki claimed that even before the Pearl Harbor incident, life in California was hard. Californians saw Japanese, Chinese, and Korean immigrants as good workers, but did not accept them as neighbors, landowners, or citizens. Suzuki was questioned by the Immigration and Nationalization Services, INS, and the FBI. He was then put on a train where they were not allowed to look outside the windows. Quote, "Once inside, we are imprisoned," end quote, says Suzuki. Suzuki and his train of Japanese Americans were surrounded by armed guards once they stepped off the train. Japanese writing was forbidden in the internment camps, even in diaries and journals. Suzuki claims that the portions of food they received at dinner time often left them hungry by bedtime. Suzuki was later released from Fort Lincoln in August 1942, 6 months after he was interned. Luckily, Suzuki was able to reunite with his family at Santa Anita.
Japanese Americans have been treated extremely unfairly for their ethnicity, while they are fully supportive to the US just like any other American. They have given up their home, job, and belongings to endure years in camps meant to isolate them from their own country. It is important to hear their side of the story to understand how the Japanese Americans were affected by their internment and how unnecessary the camps were.